It looks like I'm live. Hello. This is Rosemary Decena of Life is a Poem and La Vida es un Poema in Espanol. And I am doing a pop-up poetry reading because it is, in the United States, National Poetry Month. And instead of watching TV or doing other things while scrolling while I'm making my dinner, I thought I would share a couple poems. And today, as many of you know, if you know me, I am writing in English and Spanish. Spanish is not my native language, so I am learning things. And I was given this book of an anthology of Spanish poetry. It's a double day book from 1961, published in 1961. It has English translations of Spanish poets, and it starts in the 1500s and ends in the 1930s with Federico García Lorca, who many people know. Um, I I'm going to be experimenting because I haven't actually read the book. So I thought I would just read the introduction, share with you what this book is supposedly trying to get to everybody, and then read you a little blurb about the first poet in the series, and then read a couple short poems of his in English and Spanish and see where that leads us. And I have a couple of people. Hello, Kati and Christopher and Amy. Thank you for joining me. So this book is a gift. I have a friend, a poet friend in the neighborhood who has been around for a while, and she as a little side business, she sells knickknacks and things outside of Cafe Trieste, which is our famous neighborhood Italian cafe where all the poets and writers and filmmakers, etc., hang out, and she is one of those people. And so she gets invited to when people are downsizing, getting elderly, downsizing their apartments or houses, she gets invited to check out their books and other little knick-knacky things to see if she wants to either sell them herself or find good homes for them. And so she knows that I'm working on my Spanish, and she found this in a bookshelf from somebody she was cleaning out their bookshelves, and it's been around since 1961. I'm assuming that's as old as this book is. And it is, as I said, put out by Doubleday in New York. It's edited by Angel Flores, and it starts in the 1500s. Um, I was just going to read a little bit of the little introduction so we know what they're trying to get at when they're teaching us about these Spanish poets. The I think this is written by Angel Flores. He puts out anthologies devoted to poetry. Um, his anthologies devoted to poetry of France and of Germany achieved a certain unity and poignancy by being confined to one century of verse writing. In both cases, the emphasis fell upon the 19th century. However, in an anthology of Spanish, verse cannot be done as the lyrical apogee of the Hispanic people is not limited to such a narrow span of time. Interesting. It's been a while since I've studied formal Spanish like this. Because factors peculiar to the cultural development of Hispanic civilization, one must look back to the Golden Age, 16th and 17th centuries, which, with its turbulent and fertile lyricism, and disregarding the 18th century, link it with the 19th century stream, flowing directly into the exciting and varied contemporary scene. Although the Golden Age of Spain is referred to as the Classical Age, during that period there is little of the rigidity and obedience to rules associated, let us say, with French classicism. Spain's Classical Age was essentially romantic. It is no wonder that when Romanticism blossomed in Germany in the early 19th century, writers of the Spanish Golden Age, notably Cervantes, Calderon, and anonymous ballad writers, were admired and translated, serving as models and inspirers. Similarly, half a century later, during the French decadence, some French poets applied themselves to the study of Spanish in order to read the works of Góngora. Hence, it may not be too far fetched to claim that the modern spirit in poetry, whose inception generally is assigned to 19th century France and Germany, really sprang from the rich soil of the Spanish Golden Age, with its experimentation, symbolism, metamorphizing, and sophistication. The Spanish 18th century, concerned as it was with economics, politics, and organizations, academies, dictionaries, museums, expressed itself best in essays and treatises rather than in verse. But its submerged lyrical afflatus, which I had to look up, and that means inspiration, reappeared with great purity, refinement, and intensity in the 19th century of Belcour, Rosalia de Castro, and Ruben Dario, entering thereafter the contemporary age of Jimenez, Machado, Lorca, and Gabriela Mistral. Viewing in broad perspective the past and present of Hispanic lyricism, one feels that an organic relationship exists between them. In fact, they're inextricably interwoven. Góngора's Baroquism, for instance, is as ubiquitous in contemporary poetry as the hermetic intensity of St. John of the Cross and the folkloric magic of Lope de Vega. All right, well, that was quick. A little bit more on the academic side. So the first person in this anthology, I do not know. I know Lorca, he's way at the end. But many of these earlier poets I didn't study when I was studying Spanish in high school and college. This is Garcilaso de la Vega, and he lived from 1501 to 1536, so he's only 35 years old when he died. He was from Toledo. This Toledan nobleman served under the imperial banners of Charles V in Germany and Italy, dying in battle. Oh, that's why. He died in battle while still in his 30s. At the brilliant court of Naples, he read and studied assiduously the Italian poets. His works, limited to 38 sonnets, 3 eclogues, 2 elegies, an epistle in verse, and 5 canzones, clearly show the ideological orientation and formalistic concern of the Renaissance. With him, therefore, begins a new chapter in Spanish poetry. Keeping aloof from the dominant folkloric and popular trend, he depicted only a charming, artificial, and stylized world. Yet, despite obvious echoes from Petrarch, Sanazaro, and Tasso, Garcilaso was able to produce works which were unmistakably personal. And then, of course, it's 1961, so the books that they are referring to reference are were put out in 1925. But there's his obras, which is his works, and then a translated version that a publisher in New York put out. So let's try a couple. Um, Welcome, welcome, Brother Rob, Brian, Sherelle, and Corey. Thank you for coming. If you just joined me, I'm reading from this book that was gifted to me since I'm learning Spanish. It is a Spanish poetry book from the 1500s, poets from the 1500s to the 1930s. And I'm just going to read a couple of poems in English and the English translation, and then in Spanish, and see how I do. It'll be an experiment in my public speaking. So there's some poems that are a little too long. I'll do the English first, just so that we know what happens when we go to the Spanish version. And there's a couple of short ones here. This one is called "One Moment My Hope Rises Up on Wings. Un rato se levanta mi esperanza." One moment my hope rises up on wings. The next, grown weary of its high estate, it turns and falls and leaves me like my fate, wide open to the diffidence it brings. What man would bear such harsh revisitings of evil to good? O wearied heart, be great! Make strength in misery your surrogate. Wait for the calms that follow buffetings. And I myself will promise, by main force, to break obstructions none have dared to break, bristling with thousands of impediments. No death or stumbling blocks or prison doors can keep you from my sight, though they should make my naked ghost gaze through its fleshly rents. The end. And that was translated by Edwin Morgan. And let me read it in Spanish. And you'll notice these are translators. These are poets that are translating these works. So I know the one poet that I recognize was Denise Levertov, who had translated somebody's poems in here. But they're doing the what I cannot do yet in Spanish, which is in Spanish and English, which is translating the form in English so that it tells the story and also rhymes and does all the meter things that the original does in the other language. So I'm not there yet, but I aspire to it, and that's why it's fun to read some of these things. Okay, so that was called One Moment My Hope Rises Up on Wings, the Spanish. Un rato se levanta mi esperanza. Un rato se levanta mi esperanza. Tan cansada de haberse levantado. Torna a caer que deja mal migrado, libre el lugar a la desconfianza. ¿Quién sufrirá tan áspera mudanza del bien al mal? Oh corazón cansado, esfuerza en la miseria de tu estado, que tras fortuna suele haber bonanza. Yo mismo emprenderé a fuerza de brazos romper un monte que otro no rompiera, del mil inconvenientes muy espeso. Muerte, prisión no pueden, ni embarazos, quitarme de ir a vernos como quiera, desnudo espíritu, o hombre en carne y hueso. I'll read another one. This one is called Your Face is Written in My Soul. Your face is written in my soul, and when I want to write about you, you alone become the writer. I but read the line. I watch you where you still watch me within. This state I am and always will be in. For though my soul imprints a half design of what I see in you, the good unknown is taken on a trusting regimen. What was I born for, if not to adore you? My ills have shaped you to the bent they give. I love you by a daily act of soul. All that I have, I must confess, I owe you. For you I came to life. For you I live. For you I die, and do die, after all. And the Spanish, let's see, the Spanish, it's called Escrito está. The Spanish version. Escrito está en mi alma vuestro gesto. Escrito está en mi alma vuestro gesto, y cuanto yo escribir de vos deseo. Vos sola lo escribisteis, yo lo veo tan solo, que aún de vos me guardo en esto. En esto estoy y estaré siempre puesto, que aunque no cabe en mi cuento, en vos veo. De tanto bien lo que no entiendo creo, tomando ya la fe por presupuesto. Ya no nací sino para quereros. Mi alma os ha cortado a su medida. Por hábito del alma misma os quiero. Cuanto tengo, confieso, yo de veros. Por vos nací, por vos tengo la vida, por vos he de morir y por vos muero. Ah, gracias, Fernando. Estoy practicando mi español. Y otro día voy a leer todo en español, pero hoy es Spanglish. Let's see. Let's try another one. These are short ones. Um, Sweet gifts. O dulces prendas. Sweet gifts. By me found something less than sweet, though joyous gifts enough when God so willed. You are knit into memory. I am killed when you and memory conspire to meet. Who would have told me, when my whole heart beat with joy for you, that those times would be stilled, and that your image must one day be filled with heavy grief such as these words repeat? Since 1 hour was enough for you to take the very gift you gave me for my aim, take too the misery you left to break. If not, I must suspect you made the same reward of happiness as you were to make of those sad memories I die to name. Some of these take a couple of readings to figure out what's going on. um, okay, and then this is Sweet Gifts. O dulces prendas. Oh, dulces prendas, por mi mal halladas, dulces y alegres cuando Dios quería. Juntas estáis en la memoria mía y con ella en mi muerte conjuradas. ¿Quién me dijera cuando en las pasadas horas en tanto bien por vos me vía, que me habíadas de ser en algún día con tan grave dolor representadas? Pues en un hora junto me llevastes todo el bien que por términos me distes. Llevadme junto el mal que me dejastes. Si no, sospecharé que me pusistes en tantos bienes porque deseastes verme morir entre memorias tristes. Maybe some of the Hispanohablantes know some of these writers, but this is Garcia. I'll say it again. It's what's his first name? Garcilaso de la Vega from the early 1500s. A couple more. They're short. Let's go back to the English. Spanglish is good. Thank you. I agree. And it's fun. It's good to practice my Spanish. And actually, I'm reading this extemporaneously, so it's sounding okay. I'm not tripping up too badly. I read that one. Um, okay, this is funny. I think it's funny. Um, it's about a dog. I came to a valley in the wilderness. I came to a valley in the wilderness where no one walked across the waste but me. And there I saw a sudden misery, a dog, distraught, wild with unhappiness. Its howl would mount into the emptiness, and then it would go sniffing eagerly for tracks, run on, turn back, and stop, be fretted again by a desperate distress. And it was this: the dog had missed the presence of its master, could not find him, felt its loss. See to what straits they drive the ills of absence. The dog's bewilderment tore my heart across. I said to it in pity, cling to patience. I am a man, yet absence is my cross. So he wasn't much help. Okay, here's the Spanish version. A la entrada de un valle de un desierto. A la entrada de un valle en un desierto, do nadie atravesaba ni debía. Vi que con extrañeza un can hacía extremos de dolor con desconcierto. Ahora suelta el llanto al cielo abierto. Ahora va rastreando por la vía. Camina, vuelve, para y todavía quedaba desmayado como muerto. Y fue que se apartó de su presencia, su amo, y, y, y no le hallaba, y esto siente. Mirad hasta donde llega el mal de ausencia. Movióme a compasión ver su accidente. Díjele lastimado, ten paciencia, que yo alcanzo razón y estoy ausente. So that was all I had prepared for today. I don't know if any of you people have, so you're just thanking me. Thank you so much. Popping in for a moment. Thank you, Corey. So that was it for today. I don't know if I'm not going to read everybody in here, but I think maybe, or maybe during National Poetry Month, I can come in, pop in and do a little reading. It's fun to read aloud. I read in public in some of my local poetry open mics. Um, but this is fun too, because who knows who's awake and ready to listen to some poetry. So I want to thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time. Ciao.